That was great. That was really made me happy. So let's go with what started that conversation. Albie fishing. You must love it. That must be something on a fly.
Oh my God. I got my first, back when I first started fishing for those, it was all bonita. There was no Albies fishing on the Cape in the Vineyard. I'll never forget my first one. I was fishing with Captain Freddie, and he had a 26-foot dusky. It was a boat built for, it was a boat built for fishing, Devil's Bridge and all that area there. It's a good boat. But we're fishing over at Hedge Fence, and the water was really ripping through there. And man, I hooked my first Albie. I thought I had the bottom, and then all of a sudden the line just peels right off. Bonita.
Yeah.
And actually, my first one I ever caught was 8 pounds.
Bonita. First bonita?
8 pounds.
Well, that's a big boy.
Huge. It was huge, right off the fence. It was incredible, and it's just a little sand eel pattern that down there it's all sand eels and silver sides in that area there. You get further down south. Actually, we saw a lot of bay anchovies too this year. Normally, you see all the bay anchovies down in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Or if you get around the Vineyard, you'll see them, out by Cape Pogue area, out by Cape Pogue Lighthouse. You see a lot of bay anchovies out there, but mostly in between, the Vineyard and the Cape is. It's either the baby bunker.
Yeah, we were in Falmouth this year, and there was the peanut bunker everywhere.
Peanut bunker,
everywhere.
Yep. Everywhere, or it's the sand eels, or the silver sides. You see a lot of silver sides, especially you see a lot of silver sides over on the Capes, on the Vineyard side, over by Oaks Bluff and stuff. And Oaks Bluff. I've done a lot off the Lobsterville Beach. Dogfish Bar, all that area there. A lot of shore fishing along that area there. I was actually down at done a lot down at Cape Pogue Gut last year.
Mm-hmm.
That was some fun fishing down there. Couldn't hook anything up, man. It was just too freaking windy, man. But those fish were coming within inches of me. It's like every time I had to go to the bathroom, guess where the fish were?
Oh, they pop right up next to your boat.
Yeah, right where I was standing every time. It's crazy.
It's like they know, right?
Yeah. But I actually had a really good Albie fishing season last year. I was fishing with one guy out in his boat, and he was using one of those chartreuse, what are they called? Albie, I don't know.
Albie, hibachi jigs?
Something like
Albie
that.
snacks?
Albie snacks, yeah. Albie snacks, yeah. And he was using a chartreuse color. Now, I was trying everything else in my boat, in my box, the natural, silver side or little baby bunkers, bunny flies and all that stuff there. Finally, I looked at his Albie snack and he had chartreuse on it. So I put on a chartreuse epoxy. I can show you a picture of one. I can show you an actual one here. I have them somewhere. But, boom. First cast. And the thing about Albies, okay, you got to lead into them. You can't cast behind them. You can't cast in the middle of them. You have to lead into them. And it's hard, especially on a fly rod. Spinning rod, all you do is chuck it and reel in like crazy, But with a fly rod, you really have to lead into them. You have to kind of figure out, you watch them pop them, and you have to cast in front of them. And I don't use an intermediate line like a lot of guys do. I'll actually use a sink tip 250 line because that will actually get down a little bit further. And it's easy to cast instead of, back false casting 2 or 3 times to try to get the line out there. Let's just bring it back once and chuck it and duck it.
Yeah, the weight of it will pull it out a little bit further, right?
Yeah, exactly. And
you must have to strip at ridiculous speeds to get that thing going. Because I get tired just the way I'm reeling in.
Yeah, no kidding.
See, and that's the thing that I've learned over the years of 20 years of Albie and bonita fishing is that you don't strip fast.
Really?
You fish slow and steady. Like, I'm going like this here. Just like that there. Nice, steady retrieve. They can't turn on a fly like a bass can.
That's true.
So the longer you keep it in the strike zone, the better. But I see the spin guys. They'll just they'll reel in as quickly as possible, and they hook up. But I try doing it. I never hook up. I have always done it slow and steady. I've caught hundreds.
I wonder if it's because the fly is like a little more buoyant than like the jigs people are fishing. Because when I throw an Albie snack as opposed to some of the epoxy jigs, I'll fish the Albie snack slow. I'll let it sink and I'll twitch it and fish that slower a lot of the time than I do if I do the epoxy jig. So I wonder if that's like having a fly that's not sinking down to the bottom like a jig would, and being able to keep it in that strike zone where they can see it a little bit longer allows for that slow retrieve too.
Yeah.
But that was a great point you mentioned about them not being able to turn quick. So by fishing it slow, they see it longer and they can go straight for it, as opposed to having to have it whiz by their head when they go in one direction. They get a turn. And
exactly. And like I said, you have to lead into them. If you can get that one cast lead into the fish, you got a 99% chance of hooking up.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing I noticed past couple of years is that I tie a lot of epoxy flies that are natural, natural bucktails or whatever. I'm actually noticing that when I use the synthetic materials, it seemed to work a lot better.
Interesting.
Yeah, I can't figure it out, but the materials out there is like and here let me show you a couple examples, okay?
Yeah, please.
Okay, now. These are your natural type of epoxy flies, okay? Like this one right here is a little mummy chug.
Okay, yeah.
Great bass fly, okay? It's got the epoxy head, and it's got all the feathers in the back. Okay, now this is a great striper fly.
So when you make that, are you turning it somehow? And then okay.
Oh yeah, I have a rotisserie, and I turn it in the rotisserie, or I'm using a UV resin. Now my vise are all rotary vices, so I can turn the fly in my vise to get that nice smooth body.
Yeah, nice.
But some of the flies that I was using, like a simple white fly, which is usually a killer on Albies and Bonita. I was throwing this sucker here, wasn't doing anything. They wouldn't even look at it. You guys can see that, right?
Yep.
Okay. And then, once I went to synthetics, now this is all synthetic material right here. They just like that so much better. I don't know why.
Interesting.
And what's nice
it definitely
about
looks like it can have a thinner profile, maybe.
The profile is the same. I don't know. I just can't.
I wonder what it looks
out.
like under the water.
Yeah, it looks like it's got a little more like natural flash on it.
Well, even that, just the consistency of the. It looks a little. It actually looks a little more coarse, like a little stiffer.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. They don't like the action. Yeah, it is. It has no action. It's just like a stick bait.
Yeah.
But and what's nice about when you're using synthetics, though, what's not really nice about this here is that you can trim it on the boat. If you got snot out there, they're feeding on snot. You can trim this down to something like that there without a problem.
Yep.
Why couldn't you do it with natural material?
Because you don't want to wreck. Because now you're going to end up with with tapered ends. You see how all this is tapered.
Yeah.
For me, as a fly tire, I wouldn't do it. Yeah. But I know guides, especially down in Florida, if they were fishing something like this down in Florida, and this is too long for them. They'd take the scissors and they'd cut that right off in a second.
Yeah.
They want to be fishing with stuff like that. Up here, go ahead.
I don't know, you remember the show, The Spanish Fly?
Oh, yeah. Jose
Wahebe. Yeah. I remember he was fishing down at the Cape with Terry Nugent. This is when I was like in high school. So, and they were fishing a bass feed of all these huge stripers, like banging the boat. And he couldn't get a bite. They were on krill, right? And he never got a striper on the fly. So they broke down and they took one of his flies and he was talking about cutting it, and he started cutting it, a little bit shorter to match the krill. and he wanted it just a little bit bigger. In his first cast, he caught like a 47-incher on the fly with that bait.
Yeah.
Just really cool, like adaptation, being out in the water and making a change.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, fishing that snot. See a lot of that. But Albies, though, I mean, they're just an incredible fishery. Thank God we can't keep them.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Thank God for that there. Bonita, a different story, though.
They're tasty.
Oh, yeah, they're good eating. They're real good eating.
I don't even eat fish, but I like bonita.
Bonita's good. It is.
Actually, I think the DMF or somebody just did an albie tagging study this past fall.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't really get involved with it, but I saw that, which is good.
I don't know much about it other than they did it. So hopefully, maybe Matt Air might be able to shed some light on it. We have in a couple of weeks. That would be nice. Yeah, that would definitely be interesting because they're definitely not a fish that's studied often. Not like your tuna or your stripers.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool to get some data on that.
Oh, and this fly right here. I caught my first albie on that.
Yeah,
that's a good looking fly.
Yeah, and all that is peacock curl and some bucktail underneath.
Yeah, it's got those nice olive like tones to it.
Yeah, curl body. I sell a lot of these still, even to this day. It's such a great fly.